No. Jerem, no, Jerem, no, why are you doing this? No!
What? What?
What?
Why am I sweating?
Oh, God. Not again. Oh, we had another one of those dreams again, didn't we?
What is happening? I don't think
Are
these
they
are
even
actually dreams.
I don't know what's real anymore.
God damn. Let's just play this new game I found. It's called 20XDX.
Okay. Welcome everybody to another episode of Extreme. My name is Zach.
Hey, my name is Joey.
And this is a podcast where we dig deep on your favorite video games.
Yes!
And I guess we're going to play this game 20XX?
Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah, it's... I feel like this...
Wait, did we?
Having like deja vu.
Did we do this?
I think we did do this. But we couldn't have finished it. I don't remember beating it.
No.
So we must not have finished it. So maybe we try it again?
Not. Let's try it out.
Okay, yeah. Let's just go. Yeah, alright. So let's jump right into it then. Okay, level 1 here.
Alright.
The Agni Sort.
Cool.
With Perforator.
Alright.
Okay, so...
Holy shit, it's hard.
Holy shit. Actually, funnily enough, apparently I've saved up enough cores to go and get crates that appear now in the beginning of the stages.
Nice.
Or at least in the beginning of the game. Specifically, you can get augmentation crates in the beginning, or diamond crates, which are weapon crates. I don't remember us talking about weapon augs.
Have we?
I don't know. Let's talk about them anyway. So
okay.
Weapon augs, there's about 3 different augmentations that you can have per gun, and not including your default. Which changes up how you can actually go and approach the challenges in each of these levels. So, specific to Nina, there is the Star Shot, which shoots it in 4 different directions. There's the Forculator, which shoots it in 3 directions forward. And then there's also the Plasma Shot, I think is called. It's like a shotgun.
Right.
And it shoots a very tight burst directly forward. But any of these will really kind of change how you can approach specific challenges because they shoot in very different directions. So if you have enemies that are above you and you have the Star Shot, great, you're in a good spot. But if there are enemies above you and have the Forculator, you're going to have to get into a different position. Same with the Plasma Shot because you may need to be up in their face as opposed to farther away. So it's just kind of how you feel like playing these stages.
Yeah, they all have their different advantages and disadvantages.
Exactly, but it makes, on top of that, if you combine the already randomized augmentation system with the already randomized chunking system, and then you multiply that by the 3 or 4 different weapon augmentation styles that you can play with, and then you multiply that by the amount of new characters that you can play with, and then you multiply that by the amount of weapon augmentations that they have, and then you multiply it by the potential for luck-based token extracts that you can get from slot machines, you have a very large number.
Yes, that is a large number. Jillion.
But it basically, if you found out what number that is, that would show you at least a good glimpse into the amount of possibilities that you have in terms of playing through one round of 20XX. So, it just goes to show how randomization can really increase the replayability, because there's no way you're going to really experience the same kind of game each time.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just another addition to making the roguelike more roguelike? I don't know. That sounds kind of dumb. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Okay, as long as you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's kind of like old arcade games, I guess.
Yeah,
like
I can see that.
The replayability of it.
It's in a different kind of replayability, though. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, when we were playing it in the arcades, it's always still the set path that you have to go on.
Yeah, yeah.
But I guess the difference is that you still had to keep paying to see the rest of the game. And by virtue of maybe you don't have enough coins or you don't know anybody rich enough to bankroll you, you might just not know what's going to happen. So
Yeah.
it's still all about not knowing what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
But I see where you're coming from. It's just a different kind of barrier to understanding.
Yeah.
But then I think, honestly, like, I'm having so many flashbacks. I'm pretty sure we talked about most everything else in this stage. Is there anything else that we wanted to touch on?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Do you want to touch? Do you want to
feel
touch on
like-
this guitar and then
like we-
play some music? Cool.
Yeah.
Sky Temple with Kerr.
Kerr.
Kerr?
This guy is not familiar to me.
No, I don't remember this
No.
smug-looking dragon motherfucker. Alright, but what I do recognize are pressurized platforming puzzles.
Yes.
It's a mouthful. I love the alliteration.
Pressurized platforming puzzles. Triple P.
Take that to the pank. See, the important part is I make us laugh.
That's what Extreme is all about.
just making me and you laugh. Hoping that other people are laughing. Anyway. There's a minor increase in difficulty, though, as the stage moves forward, though. Basically, what if I told you that the majority of the stage itself is those platforming puzzles, what would you think the increase in difficulty would be?
I would say smaller platforms.
You would be absolutely correct. It is just smaller platforms.
Yes!
So, in a genius stroke of amazement move, making the platform smaller has made the platforming harder. Who would have thunk?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm giving it a bit of flack, mainly because it's so obvious to
Yeah.
see. But at the same
There's
time,
only so much they could do, though. It's like,
that's the thing. There's only so much you could have done, and to make this work with the chunking methodology that they put in place, they couldn't do anything too complex.
yeah.
Because it would have taken so much longer to load.
Yeah. That
it
and
already
like
takes-
yeah, and like
It
adding
takes a bit of time.
yeah. Adding
And
like
adding what?
wind and stuff. I think we see that in a later level.
Adding in wind and things
Yeah.
like that to change up the how you actually move in the air.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm just giving it a bit of flack because I'm kind of an asshole. But I mean, I calls them as I sees them.
Call him.
But funnily enough, certain weapon upgrades will I didn't talk about this before, but I want to talk about it now. Certain weapon upgrades will actually decrease your individual attack strength, but increase the overall performance of your weapon.
Right.
So what that means is, say you initially did 10 damage with the single shot blaster with Nina, and then you get the Forculator weapon.
Mm-hmm.
If you just shoot one of the 3 Forculators at an enemy, it will do maybe 9 damage now.
Right.
But in the overall, if you happen to hit the enemy with all 3 at once, it's 9 times 3, so it
Yeah.
ends up being, 27 hit points
Yeah.
worth of damage. So overall, the performance is better, but in certain scenarios, based on how the chunking works out, you might actually be doing less damage.
Right.
So it's interesting because it depends really on the enemy type that you encounter and how willing you are to basically get up in people's faces
Yeah.
to take advantage of that extra damage. Because a lot of times they're going to be straight up in front of you, or the targets themselves aren't going to be that big until you get to the bosses.
Right. So you gotta be like, are they gonna be everywhere, or are they gonna be right in front of me?
Exactly. And I mean, it's a different scenario altogether if you're hitting up a bunch of different enemies, like that come at you in a swarm. But if you're just trying to take out one specific enemy, you have to kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Because it changes up how you should be approaching these enemies, because maybe being far away from them and attacking isn't the best option attack damage-wise.
Right.
So, it's an interesting little piece to consider, while you're running through.
Yeah, you could
and
try
picking
both
up these
ways.
upgrades.
Why not?
Exactly. And I mean, if you don't like it, then you can pick up a different upgrade and try that out. But as we keep moving through here, it combines these pressurized platform puzzles with lasers to increase the difficulty as the level progresses. So it's good to see that they didn't just rely on the
Platforming.
length of the... Well, not just the platform, but the length of the platforms
Right.
to increase the difficulty.
Yeah.
They throw in the tried and true enemy of the people, laser beams.
After
If you
spikes.
didn't know that,
After
if
spikes.
you didn't know that, that's true. Spikes have been nerfed. They're no longer the full-on enemy of the people.
True.
They are more like a minor inconvenience. But laser walls seem to be incredibly abundant in 20XX.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a very easy way to gate things and make platforming harder. So I could see why you would want to use it more often than not.
Yeah. Standard.
Joey, there are these two green pylons and a sign above it that says "Very Safe Lab." Why do I not feel good about this?
Because labs are supposed to be very safe. So why
like
are they
if you
putting
walk-
us that sign?
I don't know. It's like if you walked into the grocery store and it said "Very Safe Grocery Store."
Yeah.
And
No
you're like,
poisonous food here.
No poison here. You're like, well, now you got me thinking about it. But in this situation, the Very Safe Lab is kind of a place where you can pick up skulls that enable extra difficulty throughout your run here.
Yeah.
They technically are called prototypes that will give you one huge advantage with one huge drawback, depending on the prototype. So in certain scenarios, one of the prototypes that I found gave me an additional 16 armor
Nice.
at the price of losing all but one of my health.
That's almost worth it, I think. You could just get your health back.
Well, no, that's the thing. You say you lose all of your armor, you have one hit point.
Mm-hmm, true.
And if you lose that, you die. So it's interesting, because it's like, how bold do you feel? Do you feel like you won't get hit more than 15 times?
Yeah. Interesting.
But,
yeah.
So it's kind of like a trade-off situation where it's like, oh, did you want to make your run a bit harder? Are you feeling like it's too easy right now? Then come to the Very Safe Lab and try it out. Another one that I actually ran into is, this is an interesting one. Bosses gain 50% more health, but when you beat them, you get an extra chest at the end.
Cool.
So it's not as punishing as the other one that I laid out there, but just another example of the types of in ways that this actually changes up how you can actually approach or modify your gameplay to your desired level of difficulty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Also, I'm not quite sure what the giant what the giant hologram is. Is it one of the scientists? I can't quite tell.
It could be. I don't know.
It's interesting, also because the music there changes. It's like more modified and sinistery.
Yeah,
feels
ominous kind of.
It's like it's being distorted.
Yeah.
So is it even a part of this test? Maybe it's some other third scientist that's just trying to fuck with you.
Oh shit.
I don't know. What's the lore situation like? There is none. I can't find any fucking lore.
It's true. There's not even much of a story, like, to this game. Is there?
There's a bit of story in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I was playing through again, and I think they patched the issue that I was talking about in the first episode, where the introduction went by in like 10 seconds. So that's fixed. So
Nice.
Good job. It's fixed on the Switch.
Sweet. While we're playing it, it's perfect.
I'd like to think that we had a hand in fixing that because we brought it up. So clearly it was us. No, when you have such wide reach.
You never know.
Everyone in the cosmos hears us. And by the cosmos, I mean the people next door. They are the cosmos.
Yeah, and Zach's mom.
They are very angry. And my mom? How did she get into this? Is she part of the cosmos? Did she become a goddess?
She loved your father very much, and one day they decided to not wear a condom. And let's get back into the game.
Super! I felt very uncomfortable right there. Let's move on. Do you want to talk about the boss?
Alright.
Kerr, the Skylord Guardian, the Gatekeeper.
Yes.
The guy who's really proud of his hair.
He uses the power.
He uses Kerr gel. You know, that gel. The only reason they say that is because the only boss who actually does a thing when you walk in, aside from laugh at you or menace, seems to, like, tuck the hair back, like, slick it back, like a dude bro. Be like, yo, I'm ready to fight you, man. But hold on, I gotta fix up my do. There we go, looking fresh to death. Time to shoot fireballs out of my mouth.
Yeah, fireballs.
So Kerr can do a few different attacks. There's got floor fire, which just lights the floor on fire. I mean, that sounded obvious. Come to think of it. Lunging sword slash. Fire breath, which is just as it sounds. And then his enraged attack, which comes as a surprise to me, which is just giant gun pellets.
That's it.
It's just giant... I mean, gun pellets is a bit of a stretch. It's a giant square that comes in your direction.
I guess, yeah. Rectangular prism.
Rectangular death. It's like when you're trapped in a glass cage of emotion and you just can't get out. It's just painful. Anyway, it's a very interesting attack because there's only one out of the 4 spaces where you can actually get through unabated, and it makes for an interesting little platforming challenge while you actually have to keep shooting at him, because if you don't, then he'll just keep shooting at you until you can actually shoot it back, and it just makes the fight go on and on. But yeah, I like the fight.
Yeah, it's different from the other ones.
Exactly.
And it's like almost like a puzzle in itself with all the, different geometrical attacks.
Yes, geometry coming at you again with circles and squares. They never said trigonometry wouldn't hurt. Actually, there's a secret way to defeat the boss if you figure out the tangential line in terms of the attack differential.
You have to calculate the derivative.
If you figure out the logarithmic functionality of how the shot's going to go, then you win. You don't just win the game, you just win at life.
Right. Yeah.
Mazel tov on your math degree. It actually prints out of your Switch when you win. Don't worry about that paper coming out. That's normal.
Damn it, why did I go to McGill?
Who needs to go there? You just need to beat this boss with trigonometry. And it prints out a degree for it. It says, congratulations, you're great.
Terrific.
Level 3.
All right.
The super hot facility with Roadster.
Yeah,
Definitely
classic.
having a flashback again.
Yeah. We
Hardcore flashback.
definitely did both of these.
So maybe we just talk about this one thing that I found in here. It's a glory zone that I don't think we talked about. Disabling death traps. It's an interesting challenge room where your weapons are disabled, and you can only use a zone EMP to turn off the lasers within a time limit.
Right.
It's an interesting challenge because it's not something that's actively trying to hurt you. It's more you just need to understand the situation you're in pretty quickly because you're on that time limit, and then you may instinctively try and shoot things because that's what these kind of games demand. You jump and shoot, but then you need to, within the 20 seconds, I think it is, understand that you have to use a special weapon that's specific to these lasers that can disable them, and then you get rewarded with a armor piece.
That's right.
But it rewards you based on quickly grasping a concept and actioning it.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of reminded me of, actually,
What?
in a weird way. You remember playing those WarioWare games?
Yeah.
Remember how they were like 5 seconds and you had to
Yes.
understand what to do?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but on a more macro level.
Right.
It's not as short of a time limit, but there is still a time limit
Yeah.
where you have to quickly grasp and understand what needs to be done. Granted, it's not 5 seconds, but the concept is still the same. You
Yeah.
get rewarded with continuing and playing those games, and you get rewarded with an armor piece.
And you feel really good for it.
And you get a minor bit of conveyance, actually, because you
Oh.
realize that this weapon type in the actual game can help you do the exact same thing.
Nice.
So if you were not aware of the functionality of this secondary weapon, that it could actually disable these lasers, now you do.
Yeah,
So
it's a perfect
when you're
way to show you.
Exactly. So now you're out in the world and you're like, well, this worked in the challenge level. Why doesn't it work in the real game? And then you try it out and boom, it works.
Yeah.
Look at that. Fuck a conveyance.
All
Bro,
right.
put in my conveyance sound effect. Jerem, that is not the conveyance sound effect.
You said
But
it 3
Jerem-
times though.
Jerem, we're cool, right? Okay. Oh, wait, that was your evil twin? Oh, of course it couldn't have been you. Oh, I'm sorry. I would never doubt you. I would never doubt you. Thank you so much for coming back and explaining the situation, Jerem. Okay, we'll be on the lookout for your evil twin brother.
Nice.
Alright, thanks, Jerem. Enjoy that warp hole. Alright. I think we can move on to the next level.
Yeah.
Cue the music! Level Quattro!
Oh, yeah.
The Eternal Star at Sky Temple. Again, another flashback.
I know, right? It's like
That's it. That was...
it's like basically the same as before.
Yeah, that's right. Cue the music! No, wait, stop the music. There's something I have to talk about.
Okay.
So, there are smaller permanent lasers that are used to increase the risk reward for the small augmentation. Not the small augmentation, but the small boxes that contain nuts or health or energy. Energy.
NRG.
Oh!
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel the light bulb turn on in my brain?
Pro tip: eat fruits and vegetables for NRG.
Yeah, you'll be able to shoot things out of your hand that you did not expect. Like grapefruit. Pro tip, do not try and shoot a grapefruit out of your palm. But yeah, so related to the actual level itself, though, as we're moving through and getting more and more difficult, they want to make sure that these health or bolt crates are not as easy to get as they were before. So a good way to augment that difficulty is to increase the platforming around the boxes themselves by creating walls that maybe you can't jump on anymore, and you have to be more precise in terms of where you have to go.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to increase the difficulty for things that before were not as difficult to get to, but now, we're getting into more of the mid-game. And funnily enough, as you're going through here, you may actually run into super enemies that will show up, and I'm not talking about the ones that drop cores.
Right.
They're just like a larger version of the normal enemy types that you're seeing here.
Yeah.
They have larger hitboxes, and they have a greater damage output. So they're more of not a glass cannon, but it's a difficult version of an enemy, I don't feel like I have to explain that any further. It's pretty self-explanatory.
It's like what the game is doing, just getting harder. What's one of the things?
Exactly, but it's not the traditional increase in difficulty that you would normally see, where you're constantly going to now see these big enemies. They just kind of happen to pop up occasionally throughout the levels if the chunking works out that way.
Yeah.
Because that's, again, it's built on this chunking system, so you may not always see these enemies. It just may work out in that favor.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can cue the music. That's not the music! Cue the music! Oh, but... Paul... Level 5!
Alright, getting through it.
Get through Vacuum Lab with Death Lotus.
Vacuum Lab.
Again. Anyway.
Yeah.
Chunking will, interestingly enough, I've noticed, specifically in this level that I'm playing through right now, chunking will sometimes create situations where there are, funnily enough, multiple of the same vending machines right next to each other.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny. So in the playthrough that I did, literally right above one of the vending machines for health was the exact same vending machine for health, with the exact same payment structure where you have to pay 3 bolts for one. It was just literally one platform separating them.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know how the chunking managed to do that, but it's very interesting to think about, because I really wish I understood a bit better how the chunking worked exactly, like how it decides where things should be going. I
Right.
get that there is a method to the madness based on, the level that you're currently in, how fast you've been moving through the levels, and things of that nature, but I just wonder how it actually decides what needs to fit in where in each of the chunks.
It could be randomized.
It's probably randomized
in
to
a
an
way.
extent,
Yeah,
but I
to
mean,
an extent.
like it's not gonna put like a vending machine in the middle of an acid.
Right.
You know,
There are rules to it, but there's also randomization to it.
Exactly. Maybe we'll figure out more about that as we move through.
It's probably pretty advanced coding.
It's some advanced coding. They were standing over their laptop saying, "Do not put vending machine in lava." Enter. And then the computer spat back, "I don't understand computer in lava." And then it's like, "No, I didn't say computer in lava. I said vending machine in lava." And then the computer spits back, "I'm sorry, I don't understand lava." And then you spit back, "God, I hate coding." And
I forgot to put the quotations.
And it says, "Sorry, I don't understand. I hate coding." You're like, damn syntax! And that's the day in the life of a programmer. I hope you like that. But there's one thing I want to talk about that I don't think we talked about before. It's another glory zone. Specifically, this one is called Flee. Yeah,
Almost like Chewbacca.
I think that's what he's saying every time he's talking. He's like, "No, we gotta flee."
That's
Chewbacca was just a big wuss in the end. I'm so sorry to break it to you, Star Wars fans. But we have decoded it now. We slowed it down. And actually, Paul, this is what he's saying. Can you provide us that clip, Paul? Great, thank you. That was exactly what I was talking about. But you basically just have to run away.
Yeah.
You make like the Holy Grail, King Arthur and the Holy Grail, and then run away. Brave Sir Robin ran away, bravely ran away.
This isn't cue music time, Zach.
Oh, sorry, I just got too into it.
Cue the music! No, okay, sorry.
Six.
Oh, right.
It's time for Frostor and Vile Visage.
My faves.
Again.
Yeah.
Okay.
We know this.
All I got for this one is that there's one more glory zone that I haven't talked about. It is Lock the Blocks.
Lock the blocks.
Which I hate for one specific reason, because you have to lock the blocks using the weapon that you get from Eternal Star, which is the weapon that moves in a certain direction based on your momentum.
Okay.
And then on top of that, the layout of this challenge is not conducive to you actually locking the blocks in the most optimal way possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's basically a big rectangle with a smaller rectangle inside that you cannot go through, but you have to go on the outer rim of that inner rectangle. Getting my shapes messed up. To actually gain some momentum, shoot off the special weapon, and lock the blocks in place. Problem is, it's just the only feasible ways that you can do this are by going above it or below it. If you try and go to the side, there's not enough momentum to actually carry the weapon all the way over. That may have been a design choice so that it's not super easy, But at the same time, the blocks keep disappearing, and sometimes the weapon actually moves so slowly that it misses. Even though it's a giant ice cream cone, sometimes it'll miss because you didn't get enough speed to actually move it far enough, and then by the time it gets there, the friggin' block disappears, and then by the time the block comes back, your weapon is gone.
Frustrating.
God, maybe I'm just not that good with this weapon, but again, it's just another reason for me to dislike this particular weapon.
You need practice, maybe.
Practice makes goldfish. Isn't that what they say?
Yeah, and it's the snack that smiles back.
It's the snack that also apparently was recalled for salmonella.
That makes sense.
So, apparently, don't get extreme flavor blasted goldfish because they somehow have salmonella, which I'm very confused about.
They probably made it with, like, lard. I don't know.
It probably took them a few different tries to get it right. Kind of like this game, which was funnily enough, I actually got a quote about this, but there were a lot of changes from the initial game itself to what it looks like, at least in a more early build of what it looked like back then. So let's take a listen right there.
Pretty much everything about the game has changed since then, right? You still have Ace and Nina, you still have their core identities. You know, the ultimate core vision of the game, which is capturing that awesome, action platformer feel with all of our awesome roguelike elements and the multiplayer. All of that is still completely intact. The core vision of the game hasn't changed, but a lot of the ways we implement it have, right? Like, we have the unlock system in the form of soul nuts, which I'm pretty sure wasn't even in the game then. It's been so long that, like, the idea of unlocking stuff is, like, so solidly in the game at this point and has been in for so long. But I guess in 2014 it wasn't yet. When we first showcased the game at PAX East 2014, we got to, like, I think February of that year, and we saw that there were still some booths open at East, and we were like, if we really crunch, we have 2, showable levels, we could show this thing. And, in hindsight, it was certainly cool to have gotten all that experience, but anybody whose image of the game is informed by having seen it then, really almost has no idea what we're currently doing because it's so different.
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure every single art asset in the game has been redone.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And speaking of myself, that was me hitting the button that plays the next soundtrack. God, I'm getting worse at these. Another frost door. This one's Shatterbeak. Shatterhawk sounds cool too, but Shatterbeak.
Yeah.
I only got a little something to talk about because the flashbacks are so intense on this one. Since we're in level 7 here, we're getting closer to the end game, so the bullet hell level has increased to absurd levels of difficulty, where they're just throwing everything at you. And not only that, but the enemy counts themselves have increased tremendously, and the amount of laser walls has increased tremendously. So they're really, really pushing on the difficulty button here to make sure that you are in a spot that has, if you earned your place here to get to level 7.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
We're being very careful here, but there's only so much that you can do. And, God, to help us. We're moving into level 8.
Oh shit. This is gonna be hard.
Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now.
Alright, here we are in level 8, and shit is getting serious.
Yeah, take our time here.
Oh my god, we're gonna be so careful here. We need to make sure that we... Okay.
Hey,
But,
it's a bunny.
huh.
Ah,
Is that what I
Hey,
think it
little
is
bunny.
over there? Is that a little bunny rabbit?
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Okay.
I thought it was being a little harder,
Bunny?
but
Why
okay,
is
a little
it-
bunny
why is
rabbit
it
there.
Bleeding.
What?
Is that? What is that? What is that?
Oh no, that's bleeding. Oh god, what's up with the teeth? Oh god! No! Oh god! Ah! From the Department of the Inviolate Nature of the One-Wayedness of Time. But the future refused to change.